Good day, everyone. We are the Group 3, and our topic is about violence against women and children, prevention, protection, and rehabilitation.
A child protection mechanisms addressing sexual abuse, exploitation, and trafficking. But before we go deeper, what does this mean? Child protection mechanisms are laws, systems, and programs made to keep children safe from problems like sexual abuse, exploitation, and trafficking. The goal is to stop harm before it happens, give help and safety to victims, and support their healing so they can live normally again. These include government laws, social welfare programs, community awareness, and even international cooperation. For children and families, these mechanisms give a sense of safety and peace of mind, and for society, they prevent long term harm and protect children's rights. In short, child protection mechanisms show a nation's commitment to human rights and create a safer place for every children. Key concepts, technologies, and ideas. First, sexual abuse. Any sexual act directed toward the child, irrespective of child's agreement. Sexual exploitation. Sexual activity involving a child as a result of exchange for payment, goods, or some other benefit, or producing and or disseminating abusive images or materials. Human trafficking. The recruitment, transportation, transfer, harboring of, or receipt of a child for the purpose of exploitation. Online child exploitation. Sexual abuse, exploitation of children through the internet or a digital platform. Abuse through live streaming, sexual, etc. And last, child maltreatment. Any sexual act directed toward the child, irrespective of the child's agreement.
Figure 1 International. This figure shows how serious online child sexual exploitation and abuse are worldwide. Every second, one case of abuse is reported, and more than 300 million children have been affected by abusive behaviors. About 3.5% of children have experienced sexual extortion, while 1 in 8 children face non-consensual image offenses or online solicitation. In the United States, 1 in 9 men commit offenses related to these issues. Overall, these numbers highlights the urgent need for stronger child protection and awareness. Figure 2, Philippines. This graph shows the reported cases of child sexual abuse and exploitation in the Philippines online from 2016 to 2020. We see that the cases were very low in 2016 and 2017, but suddenly soared to unordinary levels in 2018, indicating that the problem was likely severe. Tapos, bumaba naman siya ng konti sa 2019, pero mataas pa rin to. Sa pagdating naman ng 2020, during the start of pandemic and lockdowns, tumaas ulit dahil mas maraming bata ang laging online at mas vulnerable. Ipinapakita nito na kailangan ng mas malakas na child protection programs dahil na sa panahon ng krisis. Figure 3 International. This chart shows a comparison of different countries when it comes to child protection laws and how well these laws are actually enforced. Makikita natin na kahit na may batas na laban sa child abuse, exploitation, or trafficking, iba-iba pa rin ang level ng implementation sa bawat bansa. For the Philippines, it's not only about having laws, but also about making sure na naipapatupad ito. May access sa mga bata sa support services at may programs para sa recovery. By examining other nations, we can identify effect strategies kagaya ng proactive education and robust community backing. The chart illustrates that merely having laws is not enough. Proper enforcement, resources, and education are also essential. Role of community-based organization in preventing GBV, grassroots intervention and advocacy. This slide explains the role of community-based organizations or CBOs in preventing gender-based violence. These are local groups na kadalasan ay pinamumunuan ng mga miyembro ng komunidad. Ang ginagawa nila ay mag-raise ng awareness, magbigay ng support services at mag-advocate para sa mas ligtas na environment. Their programs include educational campaigns, safe spaces for women and children, counseling at training for community leaders. Importante sila kasi nakakapagbigay sila ng immediate at accessible support na minsan hindi agad na ibibigay ng malalaking institutions.
Here are the key concepts, technologies, and ideas. Sexual abuse. Community-led initiatives aim at stopping GBV before it occurs, such as awareness drives, seminars, or school campaigns. Sexual exploitation. Direct services offered to GBV survivors, such as counseling shelters, legal aid, or medical assistance, often delivered by local groups. Human trafficking. These are training and empowering community members, leaders, or volunteers to recognize, prevent, and respond to GBV effectively. Online child sexual exploitation. Collaboration between CBOs, government agencies, and NGOs to strengthen local responses to gender-based violence. And next and the last, child maltreatment. Adapting GBV interventions to the local culture and context so that solutions are respectful, effective, and widely accepted. Next.
Now let's look at Figure 1. International. This table shows the levels of functionalities of respondents in four areas: motor, sensory, cognitive, at behavioral functions. Sa left side, makikita natin ng listahan ng specific activities, habang sa kanan naman ay ang percentage ng respondent sa bawat level: none, mild, moderate, at severe. Makikita natin na karamihan ay nasa none to mild range. Ibig sabihin, kaunti lang ang may malaking difficulty sa daily tasks. Halimbawa, sa motor functions tulad ng paggalaw, pag-akyat ng hagdan, mababa ang severe percentage, kaya masasabi nating generally good ang physical mobility. Sa sensory tulad ng paningin at pandinig, karamihan din ay minimal ang difficulty, pero may maliit na porsyento sa moderate range. Pagdating sa cognitive functions, gaya ng memory at problem solving, medyo mas mataas ng kaunti ang moderate level. Kaya dito pwedeng mas kailangan ng support. At sa behavioral, pinakamababa ang severe difficulty na nagpapakita na maayos ang coping sa social at emotional aspects. And overall, pinapakita ng figure na internationally, respondents maintain high functionality with only a small of or only small groups or only a small group needing moderate to total assistance. Okay na. Next figure is figure 2, Philippines. This table shows the availability of DAW desk office items sa iba't ibang barangay, kasama ang bilang ng barangays at ang percentage ng may ganitong kagamitan. Makikita na halos lahat ng barangays ay may monitoring logbook with 95.6%, office table at 93.4%, at VAW desk handbook na 91.3%. Ibig sabihin, well provided sila pagdating sa basic recording and documentation needs. Kasunod nito, mataas din ang presence ng chair na may 89.1% at VAW forms with 86.9%. Pero habang bumababa ang listahan, makikita natin na nababawasan ang availability ng ibang equipment. Halimbawa, nasa 43.4% lang ang may list of service providers at 34.7% ang may computer or typewriter. So, bumababa nga talaga. Pinakamababa ang camera at 19.5%, at voice recorder na may 2.1%. Nagpapakita lang ito na kaunti lang ang may advanced tools para sa documentation. So all in all, paramihan ng barangays ay may basic necessities para sa VAW desk. Pero kulang pa sa mga modern equipment na makakatulong para mas maging efficient ang serbisyo.
Figure 3. This figure shows the availability of different office items in Violence Against Women or VAW desks across barangays in the Philippines. As we can see, the majority of barangays have the most essential items. For example, 95.6% have a monitoring logbook, 93.4% have an office table, and 91.3% have a VAW desk handbook. These are basic tools needed to record and guide case handling. Other common items include chairs, 89.1%, VAW forms 86.9%, and phones 78.2%, which are crucial for communication and documentation. However, as we move on to the list, we notice that fewer barangays are equipped with additional facilities. For example, only 65.2% have filing cabinets or storage areas, and 63% have a separate room for intake interviews, and just a little bit over half, 56.5%, have a first aid kit. Even lower percentages are seen for more supportive resources. Only 34.7% of barangays have a computer or typewriter, and 21.7% have a sofa bed or folding bed for survivors, and 19.5% have a camera which could be used for evidence documentation. What this tells us is that while most barangays are equipped with the minimum tools to operate VAW desk, many still lack the more specialized resources that could improve for the quality of support provided to survivors. This gap highlights the need for stronger investments and resource allocation to ensure that all VAW desks can fully meet the needs of their communities.